So what do we make of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin for 2023 fantasy football? This is the Fantasy Sports Boss. Hit the subscribe, hit the like button if you're new. Started thinking about Evans and Godwin because of all the persistent Tom Brady rumors. Basically, everybody you ask, and even the key NFL insiders, are all saying Tom Brady is not returning to Tampa Bay in 2023. He's either going to go back to the New England Patriots, go to the Las Vegas Raiders, or maybe even the Miami Dolphins, but not back to Tampa Bay, where it seems like he probably doesn't have any confidence in Todd Bowles as a coach, nor should he. Another guy that should be left as a coordinator, not a head coach. And really, it seems like it's just time. It seems like the run that the Bucs had the last couple of years, including a Super Bowl victory, is over. And now we focus on 2023 and who's going to be under center for the Buccaneers. Now, Kyle Trask is the backup quarterback that could very well get a shot. But if he does get a shot, how confident would you feel then about Mike Evans and Chris Godwin? So both guys prior to last season were looked at prominently in terms of fantasy football. I know Chris Godwin was coming back from the torn ACL, but when he's right in PPR leagues, he's a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2. Mike Evans in standard leagues has been a low-end wide receiver 1 pretty much throughout his career, high-end wide receiver 2, in PPR formats. With Kyle Trask, both guys would have to be severely downgraded. So the hope is if both guys stay with Tampa Bay next season, you would hope to see possibly Jimmy Garoppolo end up in Tampa Bay as a free agent. That's certainly a plausible situation. Garoppolo, for all of his critics, is a winning quarterback. He wins games. He's almost like Alex Smith, that while the tools don't wow you, he just finds ways to win games, as opposed to somebody like Jay Cutler with all the tools in the world and he doesn't win squat. So I would like to see Jimmy Garoppolo in Tampa Bay. I think that would help both Chris Godwin and Mike Evans retain most of their fantasy football value, not as to the degree that they would have with Tom Brady. Now, the more likely scenario here, I see either Evans or Godwin getting traded in the offseason. Now, the Chicago Bears Chris Godwin rumor has started already. It makes too much sense not to happen. Godwin has, a decent contract for next season. I think him more than Mike Evans would be more attractive to Chicago because while Evans is older, Godwin does have a checkered injury history, the much more pronounced checkered injury history as opposed to Mike Evans. Evans looked last season that he was reaching the tipping point on his career, that he was now starting to head to the downside of it. He's been beat up physically the last couple of years. Even though he doesn't miss games, I think it's taken a toll on his speed and his numbers, and we did see that last season, the erosion, especially in the touchdown department. Godwin, meanwhile, when he's on the field, he's still a prime PPR wide receiver 1, low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2. So if he ends up in Chicago, while Justin Fields has his warts as a passer, I think that the two would work well. Godwin does his best work in the short to intermediate range, and I think that would jive well with Justin Fields on his rollouts. So, and again, it's way too early to predict fantasy football numbers for both guys. I know Mike Evans, I'm definitely fading next year. I don't care what the situation is. I don't invest in receivers that are over the age of 30, and he qualifies, so I'm not going to go for Mike Evans. Chris Godwin, I've always had an infatuation with. I've owned him the last 2 years. He helped me win a championship this past season, so I'm very interested in Chris Godwin if he does end up somewhere else. If it's Kyle Trask, then I wouldn't be chasing Godwin. If it's Jimmy Garoppolo, I would, and then we just go from there. All right, hit that subscribe, hit that notification button. More off-season videos coming. Going to be previewing free agency, also the NFL draft coming up as well, so stay tuned.